What is up, guys? Welcome back to Bring Me Joycon. Today we are going to take a look at Sonic Mania Plus. But before I can properly review Sonic Mania Plus, I need to give you guys a little bit of backstory. For you younger viewers, you guys might not really be big Sonic fans. I understand that because you probably grew up in a time when Sonic was not an incredible franchise like it used to be. Sonic the Hedgehog was designed to be like a rival to Mario, but cooler. Everything he did was cool. He had like a cool peace sign thing that he did, and he said cool phrases, and he had a comic book, and everything about him was very cool. And especially in the 90s, that to kids was very important. And the games were great. I remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog. I remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That one allowed you to play as Tails if you plugged in the second controller, which was such a cool feature. I remember playing Sonic 3. Some people argue that's the best one. But then there was also the Sonic & Knuckles expansion thing that you could plug the Sonic 3 cartridge into, and that would allow you to choose Knuckles as well. So it was just a really good time for video games, a really good time to be a Sonic fan, to be a side-scroller fan. It was just, if you had Genesis, you bought Sonic. If you had Nintendo, you bought Mario. That's just how it worked back then. And then Sega came out with the Dreamcast, and that thing was supposed to compete with the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation 1. And, that thing just destroyed those things. It was so much better. The graphics were so good. It had online play. You could play Phantasy Star online. But in my opinion, the coolest thing it did was it gave Sonic a truly 3D game. Sonic Adventure 1 is one of the greatest games of all time. Easily one of the best Dreamcast games, but it still holds up today if you go back and play it. And that Dreamcast being so much more powerful than those other systems, yes, the Dreamcast did fail, but most experts will tell you that that was due to marketing, and it really didn't have a lot to do with the games, because the games were incredible. Sonic Adventure 2 then came out after Sonic Adventure 1's success, and Sonic Adventure 2 was incredible. These games were so good. The Sega team was killing it. So after all those amazing Sonic games, you figure they can't lose, and they make a game for the Xbox, because Sega had then gotten out of the console market with the failure of the Sega Dreamcast. And everyone is anticipating an amazing new three-dimensional Sonic game, because it was the Xbox, and it was even more so powerful. It was essentially a PC, and Sonic Heroes was not a great game. It's okay, but you kind of just run forward all the time, and you have to constantly switch between the characters to get over different obstacles. And in my opinion, it was not a great game. I've tried several times to force myself to play it, just to see if it gets any better. And it's just not fun. It's really not. And then they decided they were going to try another hand at a Sonic game. And on the 360, they released Sonic the Hedgehog. And it also was a complete flop, and it just was not good. And then they tried again on the Wii, and they made Sonic and the Magic Rings. They also made some PS3 and 360 technically 2D Sonic games, or in that style. They're like 2.5D. They're like, the graphics are pretty good, the characters look sort of three-dimensional, but they're a side-scroller. And these games were slightly better. They were sort of on the right track, but Mario being like tall and lanky, and it was just weird. It didn't feel right. He felt too big, in my opinion, to do like the spins correctly and stuff. and it just felt kind of weird, but it wasn't terrible, and they called that Sonic the Hedgehog 4, and I believe there were 2 parts to that, if I remember correctly. I know I purchased both of them. And, you know, okay, you're kind of on the right track. Got, you know, some praise. Some people said, hey, this is better than your three-dimensional stuff. We still really want a Sonic Adventure 3, but this game is better than that other garbage you made, so we're happy. And that kind of brings us to Sonic Mania. Boy, with all those other terrible Sonic games, I was not expecting Sonic to be as incredible as it is. But they got this guy named Christian Whitehead, and he was a freelance video game developer. He had taken Sonic CD and ported it to the iPhone, and it was a very good port. But he got a cease and desist letter from Sega, or at least that's what the rumors are. I don't know if anyone has confirmed that or not, but he, instead of getting in trouble, got offered a job from Sega. And he then finished the port. It released on the PlayStation 3. I played it back in the day before I ever knew what his name was. It's an amazing port. I love it. I still like to go back and play that game. It also got released on the 360 and the iPhone, and I want to say Android. And then Sega said, hey, you do amazing work. Thanks for doing that. Why don't you port Sonic 1 and 2 for us? After he ported Sonic 1 and 2, they said, hey, you're amazing. Why don't you make your own Sonic game? Make an original game. And that brings us to Sonic Mania. Now, Sonic Mania is the best Sonic game I have played in so many years, and I just really am so grateful that they went back to their roots for a while. Just, you know, even if they're still gonna put out junk like Sonic Forces, I really enjoy the side-scrolling, and I really like all the new elements that they have added. There are a couple of new characters, as well as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles returning. One of those characters is sort of designed for like an easier playthrough for like kids. His name is Mighty, and if you duck as Mighty, none of the enemies can hurt him. And if you jump and then push the jump button again, he will slam down on top of the enemies, which I think is really fun, and I enjoy just running around and basically body slamming all these enemies. It's crazy fun. My son really likes playing as Mighty because it's not quite as hard, and he's pretty easy to control. Mighty is an armadillo, and he first appeared in the 1993 arcade game called Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. I have never played that. The other new character is Ray the Flying Squirrel. He's yellow. He kind of looks like Tails a little bit, but not really. And he has this weird glidey kind of thing that he does, sort of like Knuckles, but not really. It's a lot harder to control and to really understand how it benefits. I personally don't use him very often because I don't see really the benefit to using him. This game takes everything that you love about those old Sonic games from the Genesis and just kind of builds on top. It's got a part from Mean Bean Machine as a boss battle where you have to fight Robotnik in the Mean Bean thing. If you haven't played Mean Bean Machine, it's sort of like Tetris. I thought that was really cool. I was really shocked to see that in this game, and I thought it was amazing, and it's really cool. Mean Bean Machine isn't very fun if you just play that, but the fact that it was just a small dose of it within this game, almost like a sort of a mini game sort of, but it's like a boss battle. It was really cool, and I really enjoyed doing it. This game has all of the bonus rounds from the previous titles as far as I can tell. I recognize a lot of them, but there's also some new ones that I had never tried before. I'm assuming they are designed for Sonic Mania. But there's also the mini game where you collect the little blue circles and try to avoid the red ones, and boy, that's a classic, and I know I really enjoyed doing that when I was a kid. I know a lot of other people did as well. It's really hard, but it's crazy fun. extremely hard to master. I remember my brother being able to do it. I never could. I've done it a few times now that I've gotten older and better, but boy, that's such a classic Sonic minigame, and I really enjoyed that. In closing, I just want to say this game is totally worth your time. It got a physical release, it got a special edition case, like a special release thing, that came with an art book, which I picked up, of course. It has a reversible case art as well. So on the Switch, I don't know if it's on the other ones, but on the Switch you can pull the paper out on the outside of the case and flip it around, and it gives you that classic Genesis look, which I was super stoked for. If you pick this game up, I recommend getting that special edition. I just want to say thank you guys so much for checking out my channel. Thank you for following me on Instagram and on Twitter. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching my live streams every Friday night. They are a ton of fun, and I'm so grateful for anybody that likes and comments there, because it is really fun to talk to you guys on live stream. Make sure you watch for my game reviews every Tuesday and Thursday. Watch for news on Monday and Wednesday. Don't forget, we are doing a Joycon giveaway. There's still 13 days left on that. Also, when we get to 200 subscribers, we will be giving something else away. So, yeah, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and we will see you in the next video.